Started the stream a little early today. It's still gonna start it. The actual stream is still gonna start at the same time. I'm just I figured I was gonna sit here and finish up notes anyways. Welcome in. TNT 0444. Yeah, just 3 4s. Please don't get out. JPEG, don't chase people away. With your sour puss attitude. You set yourself up for that. Minutes. Am I going to get this all written out in time? Why is it a good time to start streaming? What did I miss? It'd be even better if I actually held this all up. Nerd pop gun. No, these are blue light glasses. In fact, you guys can probably see, if you pause and look closely enough at the lenses, you can see all the screens I got here. Gamer pop gun, that works too. All right. Finished. Finished the notes. I always like when I have the Popcast written in time. I don't just have to make up stuff as I go along. Which is what I do, admittedly is what I do a good chunk of the time. And we can make this work, I'm assuming. Just want to say, the SAC website's pretty dope. I don't know if you guys have checked it out or not. Checked it out yet or not. I may have shown it off a little bit today. Hey, we got back up to 70 teams here. About 2 hours left to go. I think we'll get up to 77. I know one of these teams down here in Pending is going to sign up. This other team's already got 5 people on their roster. How can you be in Pending if you already have 5 people on your roster? This team's got 4 players. The team's only got 1. If you get 4 players, shouldn't it just automatically put you up as registered? Why are you still pending? Maybe they didn't fill out like the captain form or something like that. One more button you have to click. Red Pacific and Ink 87. You guys might want to hit that button. You got 4 players. You gotta hit registration. I don't know. I've never signed up. Well, I mean, I've signed up my team just like that for all tournaments on Battlefy. That's what I love about Battlefy. Once you have your team placed, you don't really have to do anything. Like, you don't need to, like, get them all to agree to it every time, like, Smash GG. You can just sign up. You don't need your teammates' consent or anything. Also, what is this tournament people keep tweeting about that have weird map names? I'm assuming there's some sort of high-level tournament going on right now. Allow ink. I always like the phrase all ink myself. And I'm pretty sure some people suggested that in the No, JPEG, there's some sort of tournament going on right now. There's because Sindao tweeted out, like, here's the actual names of these maps. It's some sort of different language. EBTV? Is that the German or French league? The French tournament, okay, because Sindao was like, Manta Maria is actually not Manta Maria. Like Manta Maria's Moray Towers or something like that, but why would you use Moray Towers in a tournament? Oh, okay. That makes sense. I was willing to believe it. Should make low ink suck and call it blow ink. Yeah, well, low ink does kind of suck. The fact that low ink is the best tournament in the scene consistently is both awesome and kind of an issue. that's enough out of you. +3 for Loink February. Must have Div 2 results or above. DM Ledge Demon. Okay. You might be able to catch some interest there. You only got 2 hours to get that figured out. And if you could, when you register, just make your name, just ban us and move on, so that I can save us all the trouble. Who was it that signed up as a joke last year just to see how fast they would get banned? Was that Wipeout Punks? Those little snots. It's like the least funny joke you can come up with. Is actually joking about signing up as a joke and actually doing it are two completely different things. Oh my goodness. Does that like shows up on our sheets permanently? You don't remember that? I do. I remember everything. Unless I don't. There we go. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you are gathering up your team for the Nintendo Turf War tournament, registering for Loink using the name of a team that has already won it, having to actually pay attention to your class now that the Popcast is on at 6 p.m. Eastern Time instead of noon, whatever it is that you're doing right now. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Hey, Nintendo just does things. They just do. Hey, we're having a tournament, Turf War tournament, in a couple of weeks. It's not a ladder anymore. There's still some prizes. We decided to let Canada and Mexico back into the mix, and we're just gonna do it. And it's a one-off thing. Okay, what? I just like how Nintendo just keeps inventing new ways to just do things. There's no rhyme or reason. None of this can be predicted. None of it is, I don't know. They just do things for whatever reason, which is fine. This is a good time. Honestly, if Nintendo was going to do a tournament, this is a really good time to do it. With the whole Chugga Conrailway, whatever you want to credit for, casual starting to get dip their toes into the competitive Splatoon. That was a good time to do it. Now I'm curious to see how many people will actually sign up for this one. We've always kind of thought that Turf War was the format that was going to get the most casuals to sign up for it, and that might be the case just because it's for some people it's more fun than the ranked modes. Those people are a little bit different from me, but that's fine. Not everybody has to think like I do. That's why you guys watch the podcast, because you want to think like I do, which is always the right way to go about life, thinking about things. But still, it's during the SAC4 qualifier. I don't know. I haven't seen anything official from SAC staff that they're going to change the date or not. Who cares? If you're an SAC team, you probably aren't interested in the Turf War tournament anyways. So I think the SAC teams will play SAC, and I think everybody else will just play the Turf War tournament. I'm curious if not FT Win will play again. I guess they could just play as FT Win now that Canada's involved. Because it's like do you really need another backpack? Do you really need I guess like $50 worth of gamer points is awesome if you want to buy a digital copy of ARMS. So I guess there is some incentive for them to play, but still, I am interested to see how many people will sign up for this Nintendo tournament just based off the fact that Chugga Conroy is doing stuff now. That appears to be sparking an interest in competitive Splatoon across a lot of people who have never really considered doing competitive Splatoon before. So good timing. I don't think that was on purpose by Nintendo, because I don't think they really pay attention to anything outside of their own doors, unless it's something they deem illegal. We'll keep an eye on that. And you know something bonkers is going to happen in this tournament. You already know. We did not get through a single tournament last summer without something jank happening, right? So there's 0% chance that we're just going to get through this tournament without any kind of interesting talking points to go through. Hopefully it's something stupid on Nintendo's end and it's not somebody trying to cheat and form an illegal team somehow, which would be really difficult to form an illegal team for this tournament. In fact, Elite Four would be 100% legal to play in this tournament if those 4 players wanted to do it again this time. You just can't do the whole, well, we'll make another team that throws whenever we play. You can't do the whole match fixing conspiracy. That's still not going to be cool, but all the other stuff should be fine. We'll keep an eye on it. Today, we are going to be previewing Low Ink, which if you are planning on playing in Low Ink, you have about less than 2 hours to do so. Sign up now. Actually do it like right this second. You can do that right now. If you want to sub in this tournament, if you don't have a team and you're looking to sub, fill out a sub application right now. I promise you will be put onto a team at some point. There's already people in help desk asking for subs, which makes no sense because registration is still open. You can go add people to your roster. You should only go to help desk to get people to add. You'll only go to help desk to get staff to add people to the roster when you can't do that. But in 2 hours, if you decide you want to play in Low Ink, I'm sorry, sweetheart. You're going to have to wait next month. Don't be that guy. It seems like it's almost a trend every single month. Hey, registration's closed. Does that mean we can't sign up? What do you think? We're going to open it up just for you when you've had the whole month to register for this tournament? Don't be that guy. Sign up now. Low Ink staff is standing by to get you registered. Before we get into Low Ink stuff, though, I mentioned how on the last episode of the podcast that I was going to do a SAC playoff scenario breakdown because I didn't have time to fit it into Monday's episode. So I'm going to do that right now. And I'm going to show you guys quite possibly the coolest thing so far that IPL and SAC together have produced. The SAC website, which you can't see the URL because it's blocked. But I'll go ahead and put the URL in chat for you idiots in chat. So you can follow along with me if you want to take a look at this thing. It's pretty nifty. It gives you a breakdown of every single team that has participated in it. If you click on one, let's just go with these sexy beasts right here. It shows you how many tournaments you played in, your placement for the season, how many each person played in. I don't get this, though. We took Baki off our roster for the first tournament. So this makes sense, but it shows like how many turns each individual players played in, your placement for that. Pretty nifty stuff, pretty cool. Last SAC season, you just looked at Discord and there was just the graph there, which was fine. I got the job done, but the little interactive thing here is pretty nifty. You also got like FAQ. Rumor has it there's more stuff to come. It's not just the SAC thing we're working on. There might be some more stuff in the future that's pretty nifty as well. But give that a look through if you actually care about that. So the top 8 teams make the playoffs, right? So let's do a breakdown. Let's do a little Dr. Mathematician pop gun and break down who is going to be the top 8 teams, because there's one more qualifier left for you guys to get points. And let's do just a quick little precursor before we break down who has the best chance to move on to whatever. Let's just do a quick synopsis of what you can do point-wise. If you look at Tempest right here, finishing in first place gives you 150 points. Second place, 130 points. Third place, 120. I think fourth place is 110. Did Skill Issue finished in fourth place, right? Yeah, 110. In fifth place, time for fifth place is 100. So if you just make gold bracket, you get 100 points, and then it kind of trickles down through there. Campfire won a silver bracket. So if you're curious what the 90 points, so it basically just goes down like by 5 points, I think, every spot after that. Bean Tycoon finished in 10th place. Yeah, so it goes down like 5 points after that. So there's your little breakdown, because we're going to be talking about what each team kind of needs to do in relation to other teams able to get to that next spot, right? So, mathematically speaking, even if this team in 9th place right here, Synergy, if they were to get 150 points, that would put them at 340, right? Even with 340, that is still less than what 4 Beans and Tempest have. So, 4 Beans and Tempest could literally skip tournament number 4. They don't even have to sign up and play in it. They are 100% guaranteed to play in the 5th tournament, or the final tournament. Raccoon Soup, you would need Synergy to pop off. Skill Issue would need to finish in like 2nd place. I don't think there's enough mathematical points out there that exist to get Raccoon Soup knocked out of the top 8 if Raccoon Soup were to not play. But I don't care that much to look that deep into it to figure out a way for Raccoon Soup to not make top 8, because they're going to make top 8. It's just going to happen. So we don't need to worry about Raccoon Soup either. Maybe not mathematically safe. Maybe somebody could prove that they are somehow. But they are, in theory, safe. Campfire, Port Raccoon, Crocs. Just put them in as well. All these guys probably are not mathematically safe, but all they have to do is play in the next tournament and just do what they've always done. Maybe they can afford to do a little bit worse, and they're going to be fine. Crocs, being the lower end team of those 3 I've just mentioned, have made alpha or gold bracket the last 2 tournaments that they played in. They just have to make like bronze and do decently well there, and that'll give them enough points to where they're somewhat comfortable in the top 8 somewhere around here, right? Now, that doesn't mean these teams aren't playing for anything. These teams are playing for seeding right now. Would you much rather play Tempest in round 5 or in grand finals, or would you want to play them in round 1? You don't want to play them in round 1. So getting a better seeding is kind of what these teams are playing for in this spot. But again, if all they do is just sign up and play, I think they're going to make top 8. Yes, there's a lot of jank that can happen down here that could bump some of these guys out. But it would need to be like somebody just going 0-5 or 1-4, just like a historically bad result for any one of these Campfire, Port Raccoon, or Crocs to not make it. Sentinels, Tukey, as of right now, are teams out in the cold being Synergy and Skill Issue. Skill Issue being a massive point drop off here between Synergy. 30 points is a lot. So let's look at these 4 teams that I kind of got pinned down here as in the mix. Sentinels at number 7, they're currently in this one. Here's what my concern with Sentinels is. If you notice, SAC tournament number 1 was, is it fair to say, drastically different from the second and third one? Because there were 6 rounds of Swiss. Top cut brackets were best of 5 instead of best of 3. The qualifier number 1 was more of like an actual legit tournament, where 2 and 3 were more just qualifiers, where they were just quicker tournaments to get the job done. Since the format changed, Sentinels haven't been as strong as they were in the first tournament. Whereas on the flip side, you look at a team like Synergy. No, wrong team. Where you look at a team like Crocs, who didn't do particularly well in the first tournament, but when the format changed to the second and third one, started making alpha brackets back to back, or gold brackets. I'm going to keep calling it alpha bracket the whole time, aren't I? So there you go. The format change, lurking a little bit against Sentinels, and that's why they've kind of fallen down here a little bit, but they're still at number 7 on their spot. The problem with Tukey is that they missed a tournament. They played in 2 tournaments. Now, they made alpha. There it is again. Let's just call it alpha bracket. I don't care. Sue me. They made alpha bracket in 2 tournaments that they played in. Finished in 5th place, so that means they didn't win a match when they made it, but still 100 points is nothing to sneeze at. Ugh. But they missed the second qualifier. If they just played in that second qualifier and just did half as good, literally just half as good as what they would have done, they would be right up here with Campfire, if not above them. So Tukey is kind of the outlier here, where it's just like, okay, if Tukey signs up and plays in the 4th tournament, put them in. They're in the same category, in my opinion, as Campfire, Port Groom, and Crocs. Just play and you're in. Just play the game. Which leaves open this final spot here that the Sentinels are holding on to. Who can take it? Well, if you want to play this card of if you win a tournament, you get 150 points. In theory, even Unlucky down here, who's at the very bottom of the standings, if they find a way to win this tournament, they're going to end up with 210 points, and they're going to end up above all these other teams, assuming they don't play. So to save myself of going through the scenario of how every single 32 team can make it in here, there's only 2 that I want to focus on. Synergy and Skill Issue. Why I don't want to focus on any of these other teams? Bean Tycoon, bless their hearts. We played them in the bronze match last tournament, and they didn't actually play against us because their 4th was taking a shower. I guess they thought they didn't make the bracket or whatever. But if that player didn't take the shower and they actually played out, they probably are a strong contender to win that bronze bracket, and all of a sudden this 15-pointer becomes like a 50-pointer or something, and that would put Bean Tycoon in a much better situation right here. So that kind of hurts them a little bit. Typhoon, oh my gosh, here's what happened with them. So they played in the first 2 tournaments, did really well in them, but instead of playing in tournament 3, decided to play that worst tournament ever thing against a bunch of low ink teams that they just stomped on. If they just played in the 3rd qualifier, they're probably a contender. No, I would say for sure Typhoon would be in the top 8 if they played in that 3rd qualifier. So that's why I'm not really going to talk about these 2 teams. Deep Fried Octolings, Wipeout Punks at 135. These teams are strong, but at 135, I feel like that's a little too far out to like jump ahead of all these other teams. They have to leapfrog 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different teams, and that's a lot. That's a lot of leaping to do there. So it comes down to Synergy and Skill Issue. Now, Synergy has a 30-point advantage, but you look, they kind of been struggling a little bit. They really popped off in that first tournament, but then just kind of with the format change or something or whatever, just got fed different teams, fell off a little bit, but they did so good in that first one that they're in contention for this. They have to play, in my opinion, if this is assuming all the teams above them play, I would assume Synergy would need to make either like win a silver bracket or do better than that. Maybe they could finish at like a 3rd place of a silver bracket and be comfortable. It just all depends on what these 2 teams specifically do. Because I could see Synergy playing and getting back to that form that they were in that first tournament and kind of bouncing back up into this top 8 spot here. But I'm going to make the case for Skill Issue. Even though skill issue is a whopping 30 points behind Synergy right now, the thing is, who is hotter going into tournament number 4? It's skill issue. Yes, not so good tournament 1. Slightly better tournament 2, but made gold bracket, finishing in 4th place. Not just made gold bracket, but actually took a game away from a team and went on to the 4th place match, losing to 4 Beans and Raccoon Soup, those being the only 2 teams to beat skill issue in that entire tournament. So skill issue is coming into this tournament a little bit hotter than what Synergy is right now. Do I think that's enough heat to overcome the 30-point difference and maybe jump ahead of one of these other teams? Possibly. If they make gold bracket yet again, that puts them at 260. In theory, that puts them well comfortably in here. But again, it all depends on how many of these other teams play. And another issue that's going to kind of bottleneck a lot of these teams battling for points is I think Tempest and 4 Beans, even though they don't have to play, will. Because, yes, they have a spot guaranteed for them, but they don't have an actual seed guaranteed for them yet. So Tempest and 4 Beans and Raccoon Soup are all playing to make sure they hold on to this number 1, number 2, number 3 seeding so that they have an easier path in that final tournament. So if these teams play, they're going to soak up a ton of points at the top that's going to prevent a lot of these other teams that desperately need points from getting them. So if I had to make a bet, if you guys want to clip this and light a fire under somebody, here are my top 8 teams. Assuming they all sign up. If none of these teams sign up for Tournament 4, I reserve the right to hold this top 4 or top 8 teams null and void. You can't hold me accountable for it. Tempest, 4 Beans, Raccoon Soup, Campfire, Port Raccoon, Crocs, Tukey, and Synergy. If you are a Sentinels fan and you are watching this, sorry. I hope you don't hate me forever. But I think the teams going in here, if Tukey signs up, they're automatically in for sure because they made 100 every single time they play. I don't really feel strong about Sentinels, how they've been feeling the last couple of tournaments. In Synergy, I guess you could arguably say the same thing. A little bit better results that they got going on here. Skill issue, I want to put skill issue in, but again, that 30-point difference is kind of huge. And the fact that I kind of mentioned these teams will take some of those alpha bracket spots. Skill issue is going to have to play just as good, probably even better than what they did last time if they want to find their way in the top 8. But my official 8, Tempest, 4 Beans, Raccoon Soup, Campfire, Port Raccoon, Crocs, Tukey, and Synergy. If one of those teams does not play in Tournament 4, you can't hold me responsible. So there you go. There's your little preview there. And that adds a little bit of a, I like that there's a point breakdown before. The SAC seasons in the past have always had the eyeball test kind of mixed in, where it was like, we think the top 8 teams are this. Now, if you did like a point system, even with those past SAC tournaments, I feel like they would have got to the same top 8 anyways. It wasn't just like a pure, I think this team is better than that team kind of thing. They had results to go off of. Results are fact. Opinions are opinion. But still, I think it's cool that anybody can just look at that and come to the conclusion of themselves of who they think is going to finish in what spot. Or bet channel points on. SAC is really cool if you look at it from a certain perspective. Did I forgot to do the for the deep fried octolings part? Oh well, I'm sure that it gets exhausting at some point. I know some teams like the little pizzazz that I give for their teams. Like not your, but my lag paradise. See, boys. I'm sure some teams get tired of it though. Hey, it's your fault for listening to me. Let's take a look at low ink. Because that's why you guys are actually here. To figure out who's getting cursed. to figure out who's going to get screwed over by me, to figure out what sections of this preview you are going to clip and post on Twitter to try to antagonize some other teams that you end up beating. It's not lost on me. It's no secret. I watch I keep an eye on the YouTube trend that kind of happens there. When people watch these videos on YouTube, the Low Ink preview episode on YouTube always skyrockets in viewership Saturday night. Why is that? It's because some teams in the top 10 don't do well in Swiss and people want to go back and listen to it. Wow, Pop going that one wrong. Yeah, well, okay. Here we go, though. This is one of my funnest times of the month, though, is judging all of you idiots beforehand and ultimately becoming epically wrong in the process. I do want to clarify what happened, or clarify my tweet that I put out a couple of days ago. I said that we had a lot of new teams signing up for Low Ink, just in general, than what we've had in the past. And I think that's evident by anybody who was paying attention to Help Desk this past week or two, which you guys like to do. You had a lot of people just in Help Desk, a lot of people asking what time the tournament started, which made me think it was like, okay, is something wrong? Like, is Battlefy screwed up or something like that? I think the issue with Battlefy is it tells you what time like check-in opens and closes. Because in theory, we could start the tournament at 12:45 Eastern time or like 12:30 when check-in ends, but we need that extra 30 minutes to seed or whatever. So I think that's why Battlefy doesn't say like 1 p.m. or something like that. But like we've tried to put in several different places bots that adjust things to your actual time zone to make it as simple as possible, which is fine. Look, I'm not like hating on people who ask like seemingly brain dead questions, because if I were to join a server like IPL, immediately I would be a little overwhelmed myself. And it's but hey, it is what it is. But you also had a lot of people asking like what the format is and things like that, which is fine. Like I kind of went to our staff chat and I was like, look, this month we gotta over explain things. Sometimes someone asks a question to Help Desk and we roll our eyes, but yeah, you gotta kind of assume there's going to be a lot of people in Help Desk this time around that don't really know what's going on. Rip the teams that always leave after the second round because they are convinced it's a double elimination tournament and they lost twice. And it's like, no, wait, come back. You get to lose 4 more times. You're not done yet. But just because a lot of new teams are signing up for this tournament doesn't mean we have a lot of teams in general. This is just about an average Low Ink from a like turnout perspective. Let me look and see what it was 70 when I checked at the beginning of this episode. I think we're up to 72 now. Okay, so we're up to 72 with 3 more teams pending that have enough people. Just hit the ready button, dummies. So it's assumable that we will get somewhere in the 70-ish range of this, which is fine. That's enough for a Gamma bracket. That's enough for a 2 Swiss groups. That's a normal Low Ink. That's a perfectly normal Low Ink. But it's not just because we have a lot of new faces showing up here doesn't necessarily mean we have a lot of teams in general. I don't know where a lot of the usual suspects are. Maybe they're burned out on the game, but other people are not. So let's see some new things here. I caught a lot of brand new teams, or not me, Low Ink staff in general has caught a lot of these brand new teams, and I'm going to list off some of them for you right here, right now on the podcast. All these people that have no idea that I even exist, I'm going to talk about them, and they're going to come back and find this like 2 years later and be like, what, how this dude's been talking about me for this long and I just now saw this. I legit think there are some teams that I've been talking about for like over 50 episodes that have no idea that I talk about them on a weekly basis. But so be it. It's perfectly fine with me. New teams, and I got 8 of them here. I'm assuming there's more than 8, but we got to do a lot more verification work tonight. But here's the 8 that we caught so far. First off, the Boston Squid Party. That has to have been a team name at some point, right? The Boston Squid Party. That seems like something. I mean, it doesn't seem crazy unique. I like it. But I feel like somebody would have come up with that before. If they're the first one to do it, hats off to them. This team comes from the NA tournament, which is what we typically see. We typically see some teams come from the North American tournament before, right? These guys also come from the Spawn Point tournament. If you guys remember the shopping spree event that was hosted by Spawn Point, I had the Barry on the Popcast the day or the episode after that tournament. And one of the things I asked him was how many of the people that signed up for that tournament seemed like they were brand new to competitive Splatoon. And there seemed to be a good chunk of people that said their first tournament ever was that shopping spree tournament. So Spawn Point doing a good job. You want to give Chuck and Conroy pats on the back, so be it. Well, maybe that's where a lot of these people are coming from. But Spawn Point does a good job of bringing in casuals as well, and that's why I was hoping they would do more tournaments in the future, because they do a good job of reaching out to the casual crowd, as does the Nintendo tournaments, which is why we love to hate on them. The Squelchers. That's a band name. That's not a name of a team. That's a name of a band. If you were to tell me one of the band teams in the one of the bands that's in the game, like the Chirpy Chirps or something like that, if you were to tell me one of them was called the Squelchers, I would believe it. I would totally believe it. They probably do that Ba-da-da-beedo song. Ba-da-da-beedo, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-beedo. If you were to tell me the Squelchers wrote that song, it's definitely... I would definitely believe it. I don't think we know anything about these guys. I think they're just completely brand new from to the tournament. Copium deficiency. Oh, yeah, great. Looks like new players as well. Hey, welcome to competitive. You're gonna need a lot of copium to get through competitive Splatoon. That is kind of a fact. Hope you guys stick around and enjoy it there. All right, this is where Jub's going to make fun of me. Splacity. I hope these guys aren't on stream when I'm commentating. Splacity. There are worse names out there. At least it doesn't have the word ink in it, right? In fact, none of these new teams have the word ink in it at all. That's a big up. I think it's just ink bashers at this point. And once those guys eventually win low ink and get kicked out, we might have an ink-free tournament, which would be really nice to see. Except, actually, no, there are 7 teams signed up to have the word ink in their name right now. So be it. Splacity. There you go. Stein with 3 exclamation marks. That is a very aggressive name. New players that we can see, except for one player who has some experience on a team called Dream Catchers. Raise your hand in chat if you remember a team called Dream Catchers. I vaguely do. But for the most part, it seems like everybody else is kind of new to this. Stein. Turbo Esports. What? Is this a sponsored team? It's just, some of these players have experience, some don't. But Turbo Esports, if you have the word esports in your name and a logo that looks like something that someone actually made and isn't just some nonsense that all of us made, that would lead you to believe that they are actually a sponsored team, right? So welcome in, Turbo Esports. We'll let you know how you can hook up our PayPal there. Looney Squids. Okay, this team might actually be good. One of the players that we found was from the insurance agency. If you guys recall, the insurance agency was actually really good. They were like an alpha bracket team. I think they finished in third place at one point. But one of those players is on this team called the Looney Squids, which appears to just be a new team in general. Looney Squids, another name you would assume somebody would have come up with at some point, but we'll take it. We'll take a Looney Squids here. Last but certainly not least, I want to give a shout out to Squids and Souls. Squids and Souls. You have a player here from Nando's Hot Sauce, which played last month's Low Ink and also played in the Shopping Spree tournament as well. Squids and Souls. You know, there was a team that we played like in literally the first ever SAC tournament. Their name was Splat or Survive. And that didn't make it. After we played them, we stopped and we think, wait a minute, Splat or Survive? That literally makes no sense. Wouldn't you be surviving by splatting somebody? Like, how could you not splat? Shouldn't it be splat and survive? It shouldn't be a or situation right there. But still, Squids and Souls. That I just went off on a tangent, not related to them, but that's a weird name. Not gonna lie, Squids and Souls. But hey, it's a lot better than some of the other crap you guys have come up with over the years. Other than that, I'm sure there's a few more normal-ish or newish names here. We got some of the usual suspects as well. Michigan State's got their team in. Purdue's got their team in. Not ITAP, but the air launchers here. Dive is back. Sommerzeit is back. Everybody's favorite Illumini, Jelly Squids. Good to see them here. Indiglo. Good to see Indiglo. Again, I want to keep an eye on Indiglo. I feel like they're going to keep growing and growing and growing. You keep seeing them in more tournaments. They're not going to be the next Wiggly Phantoms. That's not fair to say, because the team who is the current Wiggly Phantoms is Blue Moon. They're back. And Blue Moon does not like to be on stream. Too bad. We're going to find a way to put you guys on and milk your clout as much as we possibly can. We want viewerships more than we want you to have a good time, Blue Moon. Do your part for the scene. A team just called Pickup. Wonderful. I think these are mostly players from Emptiness, which is the usual alpha bracket team. Prism is now just Cube. Okay. Well, at least they defined what kind of shape they were, I guess. Broken Controller Gaming is back. The Mafia is here. They got a pretty legit logo as well. That kind of looks like a actual legit kind of sponsored thing. Who's down the Splat? I haven't looked at that team yet. Is that all the teams I want to talk about at this point? I guess so. It's not to say you guys aren't interesting in your own way, but I can't just sit here and talk about every single team that signed up for this tournament. Outcast Ninjas is back. Splat-A-Lot. How many Splat-A-Lot teams did we have this time around? It looks like just Splat-A-Lot B is here. So what happened to A? We know that there's an A. Of course, we know there's a Splat-A-Lot A team. The Splat-A-Lot A team is actually pretty good. We know there's a C. There's a D. There's rumors that is there rumors or that there's a Splat-A-Lot E team, or we seen a Splat-A-Lot E team? I think there's rumors floating around that there's a Splat-A-Lot F team, but still only one Splat-A-Lot team showing up here, unless they all just sign up in the last hour or so, and we just get a crazy wave of Splat-A-Lots showing up. Wait, who's this Lydian team? Just looking at this roster here, these guys are pretty sure those guys are pretty good. We'll go back and look at them later. Regardless, it is time to move on to the worst part of your guys' month. The Low Ink Top 10. Now, you guys know as well as I do that these are not going to be correct. Okay? But I think I got it worked out. I got the formula tweaked just perfectly to where the not only is my number one team going to win this month, but every single team is going to finish exactly where I got them placed here, even though some of these spots aren't possible because you tie for like a certain spot. Whatever. Anyways, this is the best top 10 I've ever had. Let's start off with who is not here, because there is one team that is pretty significant that is not here. Access denied, or I guess you should call them no love for access denied. If you listen to their stream from last month, while they were doing their drip pick, you kind of hear them talking about how they might want to skip this month. So I kind of had a heads up that they weren't going to be here this month unless they sign up in the next hour and 20 minutes. But it's ironic because in all seriousness, as I'm looking at the teams that have signed up right now, because a lot of these teams have issues right now. Like there's a lot of vulnerability, I feel like, in a lot of these teams in my top 10. Access denied. This might legit be the best chance they would have to win. Because I think some of these teams that are in my top 10 that won't win are going to get their issues resolved and are going to be better next month. But still, I get the idea of like playing in low ink consistently for as long as they have been is very straining and difficult. And of course, the heartbreaking fashion that they lost last time. Playing 8-9 more hours of Splatoon to try to get another championship right back is that's a grind for sure. But Access Denied is definitely a notable team that we saw that we don't see signed up for this month around. Some honorable mentions. I got 3 of them before we get to our top 10. First off, Up the Ante. I think I've always, whenever I talk about Up the Ante, I think I always ask the question, are they a top 10 team now? The answer is no, not yet. Hey, they made Alpha Bracket last month. Do it again. Aquatic Vanguard. They made Alpha Bracket as well. Didn't get any wins on Sunday, though. Hey, Aquatic Vanguard, do it again. You guys are flirting. You guys are one of the most flirtiest teams that we got here in the top 10. You guys keep finding a way to sneak into those alpha brackets. Start winning some games again. I can easily see Aquatic Vanguard as a top 10 team, just not yet. Finally, the number 11th team, give it to Dark Rain. I've had them in the top 10 before, and they made alpha bracket the last time they played in low ink all the way through, I think was December. But they didn't play last month, or they dropped or something like that. And I feel like it's fair to keep them out of the top 10 over the teams that have been grinding recently and are up in the spot. It's not to say I would be surprised if Dark Rain were to win this tournament. It's just I feel like some of these other teams deserve a spot in here before them. So consider Dark Rain number 11, and they're probably like, good, don't put us in your top 10. That's never a good thing. So let's get down to it. I should move the arrow down here, shouldn't I? Get that away. There we go. That arrow's way off. That's close enough. Number 10. Let's sneak not your, but my Lag Paradise back in here. Because A, they've done really well in Alpha Bracket before. And 2, they are the reigning Beta Bracket champions, which traditionally have done really well in low ink the next month after that. They have been pretty good for a Div 8 team that pretty much destroyed Div 8. I think they're in the world division of Div 8, but yeah, clearly a little bit better than just Div 8. But proof is in the pudding. Where they were at the beginning of November to where they are now has improved dramatically. Now, I say they sneak into my top 10 because I don't quite see them being better than the teams I have above them. Of course, that's how lists work. I get that. But mainly because all the teams that I have above them at least qualified for Alpha Bracket last month, which is something to hold against MLG. Is that they didn't qualify for Alpha Bracket last month. Now, when you fall down to Beta and you feel like you shouldn't be there, win Beta Bracket. It proves that you're really good, and teams that win Beta Bracket do good going forward in the next month. It's just hard to justify putting them above other teams that I'm about to mention. Consider them the Unlimited Woomy United. Consider them in that same kind of hanging around category of a team that's just kind of bouncing around between Alpha Bracket and Beta Bracket, and then 1 month all of a sudden they just finally flip the switch and they just win it out of nowhere. I could see MLP doing that. Not your, but my Like Paradise. Number 9. Squid Killers did technically qualify for Alpha Bracket last month, losing in round 6 to Ink Sync and falling to 4-2, but had to drop Sunday to play in their Div 7 finals of Ludi, which was their finals match against the Sweeping Shields, who they lost to 5-3. So basically they said, we would rather try and beat a low-ink champion than try to become one. Fair enough. This time around, though, I think they're going to play the whole way through, which is good because the last time that they did do that, they won Beta Bracket in December. Top 10 team for sure. Not sure what else there is to say about them, though. I need to see them play on Sunday in Alpha Bracket for real. But you looked at what they've done in Little Squid League, and you've seen the success of Little Squid League teams moving forward in Alpha Bracket, which is actually just riddled with teams that have LSL experience, which is kind of credit for LSL for how many quality teams they're kind of churning out here. Squid Killers, number 9. Number 8. I think Ink Bashers deserves a lot of credit for their performance in the LSL Invitational, beating teams like ITAP twice and Demon Hunters en route to a second place finish to Legato. The result is way more impressive than last month's Low Ink, though, where they went by Pain Bashers and got eliminated in round 2 of losers to Ink Sync. So what makes them such a pain to play against? Well, it's what makes them so good. They follow the meta, unlike the vast majority of teams that play in Low Ink for whatever reason. Because traditionally we have seen a lot of non-meta teams win Low Ink in recent months. But I just want to point this out. If you do actually use the meta, it's not like it's bad. It's a meta for the reason. And it's difficult to beat. Yes, when somebody's firing missiles at you nonstop, is it difficult to beat for certain weapons? Yes. But it's not like it's unbeatable. Access denied, Ink Sync, Legato, and other teams like Up the Ante who have taken Ink Bashers to a Game 5 in the LSL tourney. If you don't like how they play, just beat them. And because those teams did. Never apologize for winning either, Ink Bashers. And it's weird to say that a team that uses the meta in Low Ink is kind of refreshing, but in a tournament filled with so much of non-meta, they kind of stick out in a oddly refreshing kind of way. Number 7. Ocean 7. I mean, persistent 7. Had to be on this list somewhere. They had to be. It was a requirement with the recent results that they got. But I can't justify putting them above 7 right now. But Popgun, they won a Meadow Cup. Yeah, but Popgun, they finished tied for 7th place in Alpha Bracket last month. Yeah, but they're entering a new realm of Low Ink, known as the Plateau. Only one team squeaks through at a time, and there are a lot of other name brand teams that have been waiting a lot longer than them that they will have to find a way to leapfrog in front of. It's difficult for a new team, or it's different when you have a brand new team to come onto the scene and they win Low Ink in like their first 3 or 4 or 2 months. But Ocean 7's been grinding this tournament for a long time now. They're one of those teams that's been in here for a long time, starting off in the bottom when they actually played in low ink and didn't actually drop, but grinded their way up to where they are right now. I want to see them start climbing that mountain this month, the alpha bracket mountain this month, and actually qualify for alpha bracket this time around without being put in there because of other teams dropping. And I already know that they're going to clip every team I list above them here. I don't know if they want to poke those bears or not, which is another kind of thing to keep in mind with Persistent 7 here. They can beat any team that's above them, but they don't want to give any one of those teams an extra reason to be excited to play against them. The whole under the radar thing doesn't really exist anymore with Persistent 7. This could be a statement month for them, though. Hopefully they don't drop. And I don't know why I don't know if this Persistent 7 is a rebrand or that's what they're just doing for this just 1 month. If that is the case, I hope they don't win it, because it's going to look really weird when we say Persistent 7 has won, but they go by Ocean 7 everything afterwards. Nobody's going to remember that. So hopefully this is actually a brand name to something Persistent 7. Doing it for Stormy. Well, then you're absolutely going to finish in second place now. That'd be pretty good, though. Number 6. Uh-oh. Let's talk about the team called the Destiny Troops. No, they're not going to be allowed to go by that name. All right, let's just clear that up right now. No, they can't go by the Destiny Troops. We have this name. I'm sure a lot of you know this, but we have this name on hold that we use called Little Timmy and the Splats. That we change the team's name to if we don't agree with the name that they picked for any reason. The problem with the Destiny Troops is that they would cause admittedly some hilarious issues that I could see arising. I know for a fact someone is not going to get the joke, and they're going to complain about my team, thinking my team played in this low ink, either on Twitter or probably sometimes just flat out go to help desk. Excuse me, how come Destiny Troops is playing in here? And the main reason why that is an issue is because these guys might actually win the tournament. It's essentially ink sync with Japanda. Most of the same players that took the 4th place slot last month. And if they were to win this month, it would look really weird AF to have the Destiny Troops as the champions for both everyone on Twitter to see and for people who look back at this tournament a year from now to see as well. Wait. The Destiny Troops won when they also won in March of 2020. Why did they let them back in? No, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's hilarious. Trust me. So to save my team from bad clout that this could bring, their name is going to be changed to either something they changed themselves, or I already flat out told them we'll call them Little Timmy and the Splats. But at some point, because these guys are good, I expect to be commentating Little Timmy and the Splats at some point on Sunday. And that would be a funny name to read off as well. I hope someday a team called Little Timmy and the Splats wins this tournament. It might be them. No, number 5. All right. I missed Inked last month. In the preview. I didn't even mention them at all. Honorable mention, teams I'm interested in, nothing. They should have been in my top 5 last month. And I didn't even mention their name at all. And they made me pay for it. 6-0 in Swiss. Finished tied for 5th in Alpha Bracket. Started off the tourney going 8-0 per matches before losing their last 2. At one point, it didn't just look like Inked was going to win this tournament. It looked like they were just going to dominate and go 11-0 until Shiver Me Feeders took the wind out of their sails on stream. I don't think it's an overcorrection to put them this high on the list, and I'm sure some of you probably in your personal list will put them even higher than number 5. They've definitely earned it, and I'm not going to make this mistake of missing Inked Again, my bad. But I see you now. Number 4. I am still a believer in Kraken United. Maybe I overhyped them last month by putting them at number 1, but I feel like they lived up to the hype by getting eliminated in losers round 2. The reason I put them at number 1 was because of their success in Ludi and notable wins in the SAC tournament. In theory, if you're in a Div 5 or below tournament and you're in grand finals of Div 5, you should be the best team, right? It's not like Ludi seeds are horribly inaccurate at times or teams grow since then. Since then, they got 3rd place in Minnow Cup and 3rd place in the LSL Invitational. I think that they have the capability of popping off in this tournament at any moment. And now that I don't have them cursed with the number 1 spot, they might have some pressure taken off them, unlike some of the other teams that I have listed above them. Number 3. Of all the teams that have signed up for this month's Lowing, none finished higher last month than the 3rd place team, Shiver Me Feeders. The new and improved swashbucklers have done the fusion dance with literally feeders and are stronger than ever and were a legit threat to win last month. Now, in case you were wondering, the only team to ever win a Lowing ever finishing in 3rd place the month prior, yes, I did look this up and no, it didn't take that long to do, was Fluency. Fluency finished in 3rd place in November of 2020 and then won in December the next month over Squid Row. Could Shiver Me become the 2nd team ever to pull that off? I mean, it's only been done once. Lois broke a streak. Now, is there now a 3rd place curse going on? I don't know. I like to find those kind of trends. I would say that a tournament like last month where a lot of teams on this top 10 have question marks about them, the Pirates seem to be one of the more safer bets if you like consistency. But consistency always screws me over in my top 10s here. So I'm going to give the Pirates the respect they deserve by putting them at number 3. Number 2. And the team I am the most scared about in this whole tournament. If I'm being honest here, I don't think Legato is going to win this month, which is weird because I got them at number 2. The reason why I'm hesitant is just I don't know about their roster. I really don't know. Slayer is gone, who was hilariously, Slayer was a support player. And the person they added to their actual team to replace Slayer isn't Low-Ink eligible. And they've already said that they needed a sub for day 2, which if you paid attention to Help Desk is my wife, which is awesome, who can fit that armor bot role. But the problem is that's not the pure Legato team that we've been seeing. It's not the same Legato team that won LSL last weekend. And if it was that same Legato team that won LSL last weekend, it's a done deal. Put them at number 1. It's their tournament to lose. But the lack of consistency with the roster really, really makes me concerned with their ability to win it this month. Maybe next month if they're still eligible at this point next month. But I just can't justify putting them at number 1 with the roster that they are bringing to this Lowing. The team I am going to justify putting at number 1 this time around, and the team I am saying probably for the 3rd or 4th time is going to win this Lowing. I thought initially that Snowfall had like a bad tournament last month, but that's not the case at all. I thought just because they didn't finish in the top 3, which is now the standard for them, that it was just a bad month. But no, if you looked at what they did last month, it really was still a really good tournament, even if they didn't get a medal out of it. Their only losses on Sunday are the team that finished 1st and 2nd. Now, Access Denied, who they have traditionally gatekept, got a huge revenge sweep on them 3-0 and kind of dismissed them. But one of the things I kind of pointed out last month is that they had a bit of a new roster. Like they lost one player and brought in a new person. So I said it was more, last month it was more of just a reload instead of a rebuild. And can you really finish in the like top 5 and call it a reload or like a rebuild? Maybe for a team like Snowfall, but they've already loaded back up. So they get this extra month, a full month to grow synergy with this new whole roster that they got. The field is evened out a little bit. They have been on the big stage before. They have finished in second and third in the past. The time is now for Snowfall. Plus, I can't really see them winning in the spring or summer season with an ape like Snowfall. It snowed yesterday here where I am at. So I'm calling this to be the month that Snowfall finally breaks through the barrier, because there's no way they could win in a month where it feels actually pretty decent outside. Win it in winter or don't win it at all, Snowfall. And there you go. There is your official Popcast Top 10 leading up to this tournament. You still have 1 hour to sign up for this tournament. Take good use of that hour. If you need a sub or you don't know if your teammates are going to wake up in time, newsflash, they're not. They're not going to wake up in time. People don't know when this tournament actually starts. Do you know how many people went to help desk have no clue when this tournament starts? Somebody's not going to wake up in time. Fill out your roster now, because once this tournament closes in 1 hour, even though you can add people to your roster on Battlefy, me or JPEG or one of our lovely and talented staff members are going to DM you, hey, dummy, you added a player illegally. We're going to remove them for you. Also, if you need to change your IGN, do that now before it closes. It throws off a lot of our stuff when you guys change your IGNs after the tournament actually starts. So if you want to do like a funny name or whatever, just fix it now rather than wait till after 8 o'clock. Because it's going to show up as like a new player and we're going to DM you and you're like, no, it's this person who signed up anyway. So make sure you get all your affairs in order. You have an hour to do it. Time is ticking. If you do not like where I put your team in the top 10, if you feel disgusted by it, or you think a bald man doesn't know what he's talking about yet again, guess what? We're going to figure out if I'm right or wrong, or if I'm wrong or wrong, in like 2 days. That's all it takes. I always start off my Monday episodes of the Popcast with an apology if I feel like it is warranted. And last time it obviously was warranted when I screwed up Lois. But if I owe anybody an apology, come back on Monday. I'll give it to you for sure. That being said, if you'd like to be a part of the podcast in any way, feel free to reach out to me on my socials below. Twitter at Mr_Popgun. Discord, Popgun, #5882. YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun, TikTok at Mr_Popgun. And if Twitter would load, I could figure out who's available to raid right now. Hey, let's go to Negus. Usually does a podcast of sorts on Fridays, if I'm not mistaken. Good luck this weekend for those of you playing. There was a problem with the raid. Please try again in a minute. What's the problem? There's no problem. We might not do a raid after all. Yeah, we're not doing a raid. That sucks. All right, well, regardless. Bye anyways. You guys can just go to Negus yourself. Lazy bums.